Hi there folks, my name's NoWing24 and welcome to the 5th installment of my preview series of Dovetail Games' upcoming Flight School. So this is going to be more of a conversation episode. This one. So we're going to be having some footage in the background that I've recorded of a couple of flights that I've taken in the Cherokee. But really, I just want to address some of the comments and some of the sentiments that seem to be out there in the community at the moment. I really want to address those. So here we are. We're about a week out from release, and there seems to be a lot of confusion from the comments I'm reading and in the community at large that this is a full new flight sim. It's not. Okay? Dovetail have always said that this is flight school. Okay? It's called flight school for a reason. Okay? This is supposed to be a fairly closed environment, fairly limited, very structured, very task orientated platform. That's what this is. Does it look like FSX? Yes, it does. Is it based on the FSX engine? Yes, it is. It's also a technology proving ground for 64-bit, for advances in the way the shaders are done, for how things are presented to us, for Dovetail Games getting their first, actual handle on actually doing flight dynamics of aircraft. Like, this is what this is about. But primarily, it is about a flight school experience. Okay, it's about going on that first flight, that first air experience flight that you ever go to at your local flying club. That you go up and you actually get to taste what it's like in the sky. Like, nothing there is no experience like it. There really isn't. And flight school goes towards actually going towards that, and actually going towards that idea of let's introduce this amazing experience to more people, and let's do this not only for people who want to take to virtual skies, but also want to maybe one day take on to real world skies. I was watching Jordan King's in-depth look at the Flight School Alpha, same as what I've got, and I absolutely loved the way Jordan got the way he did the introduction, where he actually got real pilots, real engineers, people who actually fly, and who their first experience was in a flight simulator. Was in a desktop PC flight simulator. That's what this is here to inspire. This is here to inspire. That's what YouTubers like myself, like Jordan, like Frugal, we're here to help you guys, to encourage people to go into the virtual aviation world, and maybe one day go on to the real world aviation world. And that is what Flight School aims to recapture. Flight School is about those experiences, about exposing people who may not have been too sure about it to actually going up into virtual skies. Now, is this going to have 747s and 777s and, Super Hornets and all this kind of rubbish? No, it's not. It's not. It's not designed to. Think about it. Every one of those pilots that flies an A380, that flies a 777, that flies a 747, that flies a Hornet, they all started somewhere. They usually started at their local flying club, going up on an air experience flight. They went through the hard yards, they learnt all the basics, they went through small aircraft, they went through flight schools. That's what they did. And you know what? Virtual aviators, we're actually not that different from them. We're really not. We all need to start somewhere. One thing that I find very interesting when I'm talking to people who are, who are new to the virtual aviation, you sort of getting FSX for the first time, they freak out and they basically, and a lot of them sort of they want to go straight for the PMDG 777. They want to go straight for this NGX. They want to go straight for the Super Hornet. And you know what? That's a great goal to have. It really is. But you're not going to be able to fly one of those things virtually or in the real world without getting the basics right first. Again, I'm coming back to this. This is a flight. Go back to flight school. Now, FSX has, a lot of really great lessons and tutorials and stuff like that in there, and that's really good. Bit dated now, and a little naff, but they were still good fundamental lessons. I think they could have been presented better ways, but at the time they were brilliant. They were perfect. But it's about that flight school experience. It's about that learning to fly, because learning to fly, whether you're doing it just for virtual, in virtual skies, or you're doing real world skies, you have to go through it. You have to go through stages. You go through practices. You're going to learn things that you need to learn things. Otherwise, you're going to make a complete twat of yourself. You're going to balls it up, and you're just generally not going to have a good time. And unfortunately, a lot of the things that seem to be going on in the virtual aviation world, at least, is that the virtual aviation community that's out there, and you know what, and I'll own to being part of this as well, that everyone says that, okay, you've got to, buy FSX for $20, or, $5 punk on, so you get as a $5 punk on Steam. Then you've got to go out and spend $300, what is it about? Yeah, about $300-400 on bare minimum add-ons of, FTX Global, FTX Vector, Pilot's Mesh, and that kind of stuff. And then, then you've got to go, but you've got to have this aircraft and that aircraft. And it's the problem that I feel that a lot of us have is that we've become very elitist. And as I said, I will own to being part of that group at times. I will own to being that. This is about going back to basics. Get it right. I'm not saying anything against any of the fantastic developers out there and all the products and the things that they've given us and our virtual skies. I'm not saying anything against any of them. Absolutely not. Products are amazing. But we need to remember that there are lots of people out there that are being put off from joining our community and our virtual skies because of this elitist attitude that has crept in to our way of thinking. And I am really excited by Flight School for the simple fact that it's going back to basics. Now, I'm going to continue using this analogy here for Dovetail as well. Now, Flight School is their first flight simulation type product. Yes, they've been doing rails, train simulations and rail sim. They started as rail sim. They've been doing trains for years. They've been doing fishing for a couple of years now as well. But but aviation's a whole different beast. It really is. And again, those products are great for their markets, but they're also fairly closed in their scope. You're talking about in this flight in a virtual aviation game, like something like Flight School and FSX and Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D and eventually Dovetail Games Flight Simulator when it comes out in later this year. You're talking the whole world here. We're not talking, just a couple hundred square miles. Like we're talking the entire planet. And Flight School is a chance for, not only is it a chance for virtual aviators to get their groundings in the world and what it means to fly an aircraft, what it means to get a taste of that life in the sky, but also then for Dovetail to actually get their groundings and get their processes and procedures and their skills up to be able to create a new flight simulator that we will see later in the year. So Is flight school going to be for everybody? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. It's not. It's not designed for everybody. It's not designed to say this. Oh my god, this is amazing. You've got to get this. You got to, this is your new flight sim. It's not. It is not marketed as that. It is not targeted as that. Okay, it is targeted for those who want to go back to flight school, or for those who want to look at it and see, is this something I might be interested in, either virtually or in reality? Is aviation going to be for me? And that's what this is for. And I really want to highlight that here, because I'm going back through all the comments and I'm seeing, oh, this looks crap, and there's gonna be all this DLC for it. Oh, it's DLC madness. Oh, they're gonna rip us off, and oh my god. I've deliberately not replied to any of the comments. I've read them all, but I've deliberately not replied because I am sick to death of people talking about this so-called DLC fest that, Flight School's going to be. Okay, so Flight School has been publicly announced that, yes, it's going to have one piece of DLC. Do you know what the cost of that DLC is going to be? It's free! It's going to cost you nothing. Okay? You get 2 aircraft to start with. A 3rd aircraft is going to be included for free. What happens after that? I don't know. Maybe there will be paid DLC, maybe there won't. I don't know. But the point is that this is this is a groundwork for Dovetail. This is a groundwork for virtual aviators. Is this designed for everybody? This is designed for people who want to explore virtual aviation. I've said it before and I'm going to reiterate again, and I'm going to reiterate multiple times throughout this video. It's there for people to explore virtual aviation, to go back to flight school. Now, is it going to be for Captain Jim, who's been flying his BMDG 737 since the day it came out? Probably not. It's not going to be for you. Is it going to be for Jane Average, who's been flying the VRS Superbug for ever since it came out, and has mastered carrier ops and night ops and all combat, all that kind of stuff? No, it's probably not going to be for you guys. Do you know why? Because you guys know how to fly an aeroplane. Okay? You guys know how to fly an aeroplane virtually, and you could probably not do it, and probably more than likely you probably can do it in the real world as well. Okay, this is not for that. But at the same time, this might not be a bad idea for you to think about. Go back to flying school. Now, for me, I've been doing flight simming for my first. Okay, yeah, okay, it's gonna date me now. My first flight sim I ever took controls of was Microsoft Flight Simulator 4. That was the first one. No, I don't go back to. I'm sorry, guys. I don't go back all the way. I don't. I'm not quite that ancient. I'm not. But Flight Simulator 4 was my first experience. That was my first one, and I've been in and out of the genre ever since then. But for me, even myself, this is a really good tool because I've done my air experience flight. I'm working towards my recreational pilot's license in Australia, equivalent to sports pilot's license in the US, LAPL in the UK. That's what I'm working towards. And going back through, and the instructor lessons that I've seen so far, they correspond to what I'm actually going to be doing. So, does this title have a place? Yes, it does. Now, I can already hear people screaming at the screen going, "Oh, but Lockheed Martin's Prepare 3D looks so much more amazing. It's going to have 64-bit." Yeah, well, they've been promising 64-bit for about 3 years, and we still haven't seen it. So, let's kill that argument on the head right there. Second thing is, Lockheed Martin's Prepare 3D, don't get me wrong, great platform, but it's optimized for a different market. Guys, if you think it's actually optimized for you guys at home, you're kidding yourself. It's not. It's optimized. It's designed. Where they make their money is they make their money on selling it to governments and air forces around the world. That's where they make their money. They kind of don't really care about us. They do a point. Don't get me wrong. Lockheed Martin, you guys, your support teams are awesome. And you're great. But it doesn't have the natural training flow and that stuff like that. So you know, Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D is great. Don't get me wrong. And it was good that there's a lot of experimentation there, and it was really stretching what the ESP engine could do. Because by the way, folks, if you think Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D is not FSX, it is. It's just FSX with some tweaks. Just grow up, get over it. Now, people say, "Oh, but Flight School is just FSX with tweaks." Yeah, so so is P3D. This is 64-bit, so it's designed for modern processors. You're going to be able to run this on a mid-range system now, and you're actually going to take advantage of your hardware that you have now. I believe that Flight School is a great first step for Dovetail. I believe it is a perfect step, or I'm hoping it's going to be a perfect step, and we will see when the final products release in a week. It's going to be a perfect step for virtual aviators who want to experiment and see if it's going to be for them. But furthermore, I think although, as I said before, it's not going to be for everyone. For those who've been flying, virtually in the real world for many years, it's probably not going to be for you. But at the same time, maybe have a think about it, because, as I said, you go back to basics with this one, and I'm reasonably impressed by what they've done so far. As I said, final release is a week away. We'll see what I'll save my full review to that. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on this because, as I said, after reading all these comments and everything else of people saying how bad it is, oh, it's horrible, oh, I want this at PMG, oh, this and that. It's like, guys, did you not read what it is? It's Flight School. Remember that. Okay, it is Flight School. The full flight simulator that comes out later in 2016, different story. Okay, that one is where we're going to be expecting to see all the whiz bangs and all the extras and all the cool stuff that we've been sort of hoping for as a community for many years, ever since Microsoft gave up on FSX. But just remember, guys, that P3D is also very, very fairly limited what it comes with as well. So I want to say, good on you, Dovetail, for actually having the courage to go, you know what, let's do something different. Let's go back to Flight School. Okay, let's do that for yourselves at Dovetail, and let's do that for the virtual aviators that are coming, because that's a really, really good sign of a good quality commitment that we're going to have to the future. So alright, so look, that's pretty much rant over, and as I said, I just wanted to round out the series with that one, because I really want to stress with that, guys, is that just remember, and if you find yourself one of those people who are going to be, again, screaming at the screen going, oh, but I want this PMDG and I want this to work, oh, it's a DLC fest and all the rest of it, I want you to stop. And I want you to go back, and I want you to ask yourself two things. I want you to ask yourself, how much of what's in your FSX or P3D right now actually came from the original developer? Have a think about that for a second. How much of that came with it? Because all those add-ons you bought, by the way, they're all DLC. Anyway, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, but the other thing I want you to ask yourselves, as I said, I want you to, well, maybe not so much ask, but I want you to remember. I want you to go back to the very first time you ever installed a flight simulator. Now, for some of you, that might only be a few days or a few weeks ago. But for others of you, that's going to be quite a few years ago. I want you to go back to that moment. I want you to go back to that moment before you knew that, forget that all these extra add-ons were one day going to come into existence. I want you to forget all of those things. I want you to forget your hangar that you've got right now. I want you to forget your scenery library. I want you to go back to the first time you fired up a flight simulator on your computer. Now remember that feeling. That sheer wonder, that incredible feeling that you had. Now that may have been, you would have had a variety of reasons to install that sim, but when you did, remember that feeling. And now think about all the future generations to come, at least the next few years anyway, of actually having that experience as well. Okay, just remember that. I want you to remember that, because that's what flight school is going to be to so many people. It really is. It's accessible, it's affordable, accessible, and it's going to teach some great skills. That's my belief. I hope my belief. That's what I want to round out with. So as I said, this episode rounds out my preview series for Flight School. There will be more once we have the official release on the 24th of May. So I do look forward to that. Again, as always, folks, thank you very much for joining me for these preview videos. It's been a lot of fun. I want to say a huge thank you to Dovetail Games for supplying me with the preview copy of Flight School, to give me a chance to actually explore it before release and see where you guys are heading with this. It's really good to see. Looking forward to seeing your final product. And as I said, that rounds out this series. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, folks, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.